Alrighty, guys, it took until mid-July, usually a little bit longer than normal, but we have our first billion-dollar film of 2025. And to be honest with you, I don't know if any of us would have really expected this film to make $1 billion, or at least to be the first film in 2025 to make $1 billion. I think that there were probably people, and I'm not going to include myself in this, I would have never thought, A, this film would have made $1 billion, and B, it would have been the first film in 2025 to make made $1 billion. And I think that there are people in the category who might have thought this movie would have made $1 billion, but to say that it would have been the first one, I think would have been a shock to a lot of people, to be quite honest with you. I think that the number of people who thought Lilo and Stitch, the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, would have been the first film to make $1 billion in 2025, I think that number is very, very small. And if you're one of them, great. You have a lot more prescience than than I ever did, because I mean, you can go take a look back on all my videos that I did predicting box office for 2025. I really screwed up. And that's okay. It's just predictions. It's just for fun. But anyways, let's talk about Lilo and Stitch. So, it's interesting. And we've talked about this a lot. And I've had plenty of conversations with different people in my life about remakes and sequels and prequels. And the idea, the prevailing thought is, why are we remaking everything? It's terrible, and most of them are terrible. And, they're preventing us from making original movies. And no one should ever remake these movies, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, my thought with this is that, I mean, it's complicated. It is complicated. And, in my mind, I understand movies are expensive. And so if you have to go see a movie, and if you have kids especially, you're not going to go and see Conclave. You're not going to go see Sing Sing in theaters. You're going to go see Avatar: The Way of Water, or Avatar: Fire and Ash, or Star Wars, or Thunderbolts, And I get that. But, I mean, to say that there are no original movies coming out, I think is a disservice to the fact that there are original movies coming out and people just aren't seeing them. And so it's interesting to me that's an argument. And on the other hand, I understand that, remaking every single thing, and I in general think that remaking something is not the most productive use of a studio's time, but that doesn't mean that when these remakes come out, I'm not going to go out and say that I don't like it if I do like it, because there are a number of these live-action remakes that I do enjoy. The Jungle Book, 2016's The Jungle Book, I really do enjoy it. 2019's Aladdin, I very much enjoyed it. This year, How to Train Your Dragon, I loved it. And Lilo and Stitch, I really liked it. There is a place for these movies. And if these movies are done well, I think the conversation shouldn't be, we should start remaking things. And I think the conversation should really just be, let's enjoy good movies and also support original good movies. And I think that there is a world in which these things can coexist, especially because some of these remakes, right, the way that, Lilo and Stitch can make $1 billion, do support when films like Hoppers, right, we'll talk about, or we already talked about in this podcast episode, the trailer for Hoppers, nobody is really going to go see that movie. Elio, nobody's really going to go see that movie for Pixar. It's the Inside Out 2s of the world that support Pixar in making those movies. And so I think that it's a complicated conversation. Anyways, Lilo and Stitch is the, like I said, the first film in 2025 to make $1 billion. Let's take a quick look here at the charts, the worldwide charts. And I think that it's kind of surprising to see how relatively it's not top heavy, but just how quickly the herd thins out, I should say, after these original these top few films. So first of all, the number one film internationally, worldwide, is a Chinese film called Ne Zha 2. And it is a film that's interesting, because I'm not going to count it in these rankings, not at all. It's just, for me, when I'm doing my rankings at the end of the year, just taking a look back at the box office, it's a film that is a very clear outlier. So again, it's not that it doesn't count or anything like that, but I mean, it is a film that is so unique because domestically, and domestically means in this case the United States, North America, it made $21 million. Internationally, and almost entirely in China, it made $1.878 billion. And so it's hard for me to look at this film because it's so different in terms of its box office makeup than the other films, but I digress. The other film, so the next film up is Lilo and Stitch, and in terms of the films I'm looking at, it's the number one, and it has $1 billion. And a Minecraft movie almost made $1 billion. It had $955 million. But then, like we've been talking about, you can see this steady drop off. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is going to top out maybe at $600 million, if that. It's at $584 million. How to Train Your Dragon, $564 million, which honestly for that film, I think it's pretty successful. I don't think any of us thought that it was going to make I mean, I thought we did our updated summer box office predictions, and I thought it had a chance to make a lot more than that. But I think that $564 million should be considered a success, especially given how the animated films didn't really make that much more than that. So I think that's good. Jurassic World Rebirth is at $544 million. I actually think now, which is surprising to me, I don't know if this film's going to make $1 billion. We'll see. We'll see how its legs hold up. But yeah, it's surprisingly not as far along towards the $1 billion track as I thought it would be. But even if it taps out at $700-800 million, that's still insanely successful. Captain America Brave New World at $415 million, not super successful. F1 at just about $400 million. I thought that this movie had a chance for $700 million, and it's not really going to get there, but still a lot of money for F1. Thunderbolts at $382 million, again, not super great. Sinners at $365 million, and then Superman is still out there at $250 million. So it's really, a lot of these top-heavy movies, Lilo and Stitch, a Minecraft movie, are not films that we expected to be up there. And a lot of films like Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Jurassic World and Superman can get there. Fantastic Four I think will shoot up these rankings. I think it will nestle in there under Lilo and Stitch and between Mission Impossible. So we will see. But I just wanted to talk about the fact that Lilo and Stitch is the first film in 2025 to make $1 billion. And I think it's good for Lilo and Stitch. It is one of my favorite movies of 2025. I say that unabashedly, as also somebody who hasn't seen the original. And again, I fully admit that, but also hearing people in the comments saying, well, then your opinion doesn't count. I don't think that's true. It's just a different perspective that I'm coming at it from. And if you have seen the original film and you loved it, and I should say, I did see the original film, but it was a long time ago when I was a kid, so I don't really remember anything from it. And if you did see the original movie and you have all the love in the world for it and you hate this remake, then more power to you. There's nothing wrong with that. For a counterexample, I saw How to Train Your Dragon. It is one of the animated films that holds such a special place in my heart. I have such nostalgia for it, and I loved the remake. So it's just who we are and how it hits us, and that's just what it is. But before we round out the segment, I wanted to also quickly look at the films that are remaining for 2025 and just see, because we also, we've made different videos about predicting the remaining box office films for 2025. But I just want to take a look at the films that, are coming out still, and which films I still think are going to make $1 billion, and which ones I might adjust my expectations a little bit. So Fantastic Four, I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion. Again, I think it can cap out very nicely at $700-ish million, and I think that's going to be a really good thing. Tron Ares, we talked about the trailer for Tron Ares. I don't think so. I think it can make $500 million. That's pretty huge for Tron Ares, to be quite honest with you. Wicked for Good, though, I still think is going to hit $1 billion very comfortably. I think it will. Zootopia 2, I mean, you would think just based on precedent that it will, but I don't know. We'll see. I think it will, but I'm not 100% sold on that. And then you have basically the only other one is Avatar Fire and Ash, and I think that one is pretty much a lock. So I think that you have Wicked for Good and Avatar Fire and Ash that I think are still very much locks, and Zootopia 2, I am on the fence. Guys, what do you think about Lilo and Stitch being the first $1 billion film of 2025? I mean, Neja too, but just of the films that we usually talk about making most of their money, a lot of their money in the United States and then internationally. Let me know in the comments down below.